So hey guys, today we have Rahul Kumar and he's having almost 3.5 year of experience in Java and Spring Boot and he has worked with multiple companies. So hey, hi Rahul.
Hi Faizan.
Shall we start?
Sure, we can start.
Okay, so can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I have total 3.5 years of experience. I have been
Mm-hmm.
worked on two companies. That is, I started
Mm-hmm.
my career in 2020 with Wipro Limited.
Okay.
I worked almost like 2.5 to 3 years there.
Mm-hmm.
Then next I worked for the currently I'm working with Infosys Limited. And
Okay.
in both companies, I started my career as a Java developer. Then slowly I learned Spring Boot framework. Then I switched
Okay.
to the Spring Boot framework where I developed the REST APIs. And
Mm-hmm.
currently also I'm working as a Java developer only, where I'm working on the framework called Spring Boot, where my
Spring Boot.
job is to my daily activities is to develop the REST APIs, which is which is integrating with the database backend, which is
Okay.
doing the various operations like retrieving the data
Mhm.
from the backend or updating the database or inserting the records or various operations. And my APIs is integrating or talking with the front end. Like in my previous project, in my previous company, the front
Okay.
end was the Android, where the
Mm-hmm.
it used to integrate the Android. In my current company, the front end application is the Angular, where it integrates with the
Okay.
Angular for the front end technology. So backend is the Spring Boot, front end is the Angular. So this is the
Angular.
complete overflow, and the backend and the database is the Oracle. So
Oracle.
this is the
Okay.
complete architecture of our project, and it's a
Okay.
monolithic architecture in our current.
Monolithic architecture. Okay. So you
Yes.
didn't get a chance to work on microservices yet, right?
In my professionally, I haven't worked
But
on the
personally,
microservices, but personally, I do know the
okay,
microservices
okay.
architecture,
Got it, got
and
it.
I have means recently I have completed one complete project in the microservices architecture.
Okay, okay. Nice. So, which one, like, would you want to prefer, microservices or monolithic? Which one
Actually,
would you like to prefer?
means both have advantage and both has disadvantage. What I think,
Okay.
like monolithic
Mm-hmm.
has advantage also, it has disadvantage also. Advantage,
Disadvantages also.
yes, and my microservice also has the advantage and it has disadvantage also. I will
Okay,
tell like
okay.
Microsoft's advantage, like you can segregate the applications. Like one application has
Mm-hmm.
one business logic completely, another services can
Okay,
has
okay.
separate business logic.
Yeah, yeah,
But
we
when
have, as
yes,
per demand, we can choose
yes,
either
yes, yes. You
microservice
can,
or architecture.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
sure,
scale
sure.
up, you can scale down, but when it comes to the debugging, it will take
Mm-hmm.
human. It can take a week.
Mm.
But in the monolithic architecture, the coding and the development is very easy. But the
Very
scale
easy.
down, scale up is very difficult.
Okay,
The
okay.
complete application gets down.
Yeah, got it. So which Spring Boot version do you use in your current
Uh,
project?
Actually, completely we used 2.x. We haven't
2.8.
migrated to 3.x. Yes.
Okay, okay. Okay. So can you please share any database table name which you have worked on in your current project?
Okay, our project is on based on the agriculture. So the database, like
Okay.
we're using the crop, like the
Crop.
SQC, it's an agriculture project. So we are
Mm-hmm.
to table name like crop table is there, SQC
Okay.
crop analysis. Like these are the various table names which are using on
Okay, okay.
day
So
to day basis.
okay, okay. So how do you secure REST APIs?
Okay, so we have the various layers. Like
Mm-hmm.
before the request come to the our backend, there is a
Mm-hmm.
APIG team which
Okay.
before means which handles the request. So in that layer,
Mm-hmm.
the security is implemented. Like for the Spring, there is a Spring security. However, we don't do the security in the Spring layer. There is a
Okay.
APIG team which handles the all the security. So when the request
So you
comes
guys
to the
are not
Angular,
working
after
in
the
the securing REST APIs, is
yes,
it?
yes, yes. There is a different dedicated team called the
Okay,
APIG
okay.
team.
But like if you get a chance to secure
Okay.
endpoints in different projects, so how would you secure? Like
Yes, there
what
are
all?
various. Yeah, yes, there are various ways. Like the most
Mm-hmm.
prefer I would like to tell is the JWT. Like there are OAuth,
Okay.
there are like
Mm-hmm.
key clock, JWT.
Mm-hmm.
But like I know the architecture of like JWT, so it is the most in demand JWT, JSON Web Token.
Okay, okay. JSON Web Tokens.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. And like have you integrated any caching?
As of now, not integrated, but I know the concept of caching.
Okay. So like, why do we use caching in our project? Can you tell me any use case of the caching
Yes,
in
yes, yes.
enterprise project?
Suppose, yes, yes. Suppose I will tell you, like there was one use case in my previous
Mm-hmm.
company that
Okay.
it was I like it was the AWS scenario where our application used to it was integrated with the AWS one services, and it
Okay.
was hitting the AWS region somewhere, and every
Mm-hmm.
time when it will hit that region, so it will
Mm-hmm.
take lots amount of time. We know that it will hit
Okay.
every time that region only, so instead of
Mm-hmm.
hitting every time, we know that it will hit the that region only. So instead of hitting every time, what we'll do, we will cache that things, we will
Cache
cache
the
that
things.
thing, that scenario somewhere else. So instead of hitting that thing, it will just not go directly there.
Okay.
It will, instead of that, it will go to that place only, and it will retrieve the data from there, and it will get back to there. So this is
Okay.
how we it was implemented over there. In the database
Okay.
also, suppose instead of creating the object every time,
Mm-hmm.
fetching the object from the database same time, we can cache that
Okay.
table or that object into somewhere caching. So instead of hitting
Mm-hmm.
the database every time, it will cache that from the that caching mechanism, and it will not hit the database every time. So this is how we can implement the caching to avoid the time taking or the retrieval time. So this is how the caching
Okay. Okay.
works.
Got it. So, can you tell me some key dependencies in order to create any Spring Boot application? What are the key dependencies?
Yeah, sure, sure. Like the POM dependencies which we add, right?
Yes,
In the
yes, correct.
pom.xml. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
The first one is the web.
Mm-hmm.
We need the web dependencies for the embedded Tomcat server and all those things. The another one
Okay.
for the database, we need the MySQL connector, or
Mm-hmm.
the we are using the Oracle, then Oracle like MySQL or the Oracle WebDriver. Another, we need
Okay.
the DevTools. Then we need the, if you're using
Mm-hmm.
the security, then Spring Security. Then we
Mm-hmm.
need the these are the then we need the, if
These
you're
are the
using the,
majors. Okay, okay.
yeah, and then we, if you are using the Lombok, then we need the Lombok. And if you are using the Kafka, then we need the Kafka. All those
Okay. So,
things,
but
the
I think
dependencies.
these are not key dependencies like Lombok. I mean, if we don't use
Web is
Lombok.
the main key. Web in the MySQL driver is the main, I think.
Okay, okay, okay. So, what is versioning in REST, RESTful APIs? Do you know?
Yes, yes. Suppose I have
Mhm.
developed one API for the
Okay.
sprint one. Sprint
Uh,
one, I developed one API. I have deployed
mm-hmm.
that API into the dev or the stage. After the
Okay.
testing, it has been deployed to the production. In
Mm-hmm.
the sprint two, some requirement come where
Okay.
in the existing API only I have to make the changes. Some new
Mm.
changes on the existing only have to changes. So again, when
Okay.
I will do the changes, when again I will deploy in the dev or the stage, I have
Mm-hmm.
to I have supposed the naming convention of the my API was the
Mm-hmm.
localhost I'm telling for the dev
Mm-hmm.
localhost dot 8080 slash
Mm-hmm.
v1 slash crop. For the next changes for
Okay.
the next sprint, instead of
Mm-hmm.
deploying that changes, what I will do in
Mm-hmm.
the slash v1, I will make it
Mm-hmm.
v2, because
Okay.
I have made some new changes in the existing API, so I have to change the
Mm.
version, because in the existing only I have done some new changes. So if
Okay.
if some technical person is going through the API, he will come to know that
Mm-hmm.
okay, this was the existing API, and from the V2 will not come, that we will come to know that there are some changes done to the existing API. So through the V1, V2, V3, we can come to know the version of the API, that okay, there is some
Okay.
versioning done into the API. This is how
Yeah,
we do
yeah.
the versioning.
Okay, okay. Okay. So, what are the Spring Boot starters and how do they work?
Spring Boot starters.
Yes.
Spring Boot starters means, can you elaborate like starters?
Spring Boot starter means like we have Spring Boot starter web, we have Spring Boot
Okay,
starter
okay, like web,
data JPA.
yeah, yeah, means modules like web, data, JPA, all those things.
Mm-hmm. So what are these? I mean, why do we use these starters?
Okay, okay,
And what's the purpose of having? Yeah, yeah. First answer
we
this.
use
Like, why do?
like for web. Yes, yes. Basically, we use Spring Boot to have some predefined
Mm-hmm.
modules or the predefined functionalities. Suppose in the Spring
Okay.
Boot we don't want to add the server manually. We want that the Spring Boot provides the uh, server embedded server. So if you add
Okay.
the Spring Boot web, where will provide
Mm-hmm.
us the three embedded servers,
Mm-hmm.
automatic. That is the Tomcat, Jetty, and
Okay.
Undertow. So if you will add web,
Okay.
it will give us three servers automatically. We also want to
Mm-hmm.
develop the web APIs or the REST APIs. So web will
Mm-hmm.
give us all the annotation and all the functionalities to
Mm-hmm.
to the Spring Boot to develop that API or the web applications. So this all things
Okay.
is does. Suppose we add the another API like data JPA.
Mm-hmm.
So interact with the
Mm-hmm.
database, or you are used or to use the predefined methods like find by ID, find all, or to save
Yeah,
like the
yeah. Okay,
predefined
okay.
methods
So
to
understood,
interact with the
understood.
database.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Got it. Yeah. And what's the purpose of a Spring Boot starter parent? We have one parent, right?
Yeah, we have the parent.
Like
So I
what's the
think that
purpose?
parents, yeah, I think in the Spring Boot we don't give the version. When we add the dependencies, we saw one line called version. So
Mm-hmm.
according to that version, when we add the dependency,
Okay.
it takes the parent version, and according to that parent version, it automatically detects the version of
Mm-hmm.
that dependency. So I think with the help of that parent,
Okay,
I
okay.
think it versions it take the
We
version of
don't
that
need to worry about
dependency.
versionings and all and dependencies, right?
Yes, yes, yeah. It
Okay, okay.
automatically fetch from the parent
Fetch
version.
from.
So I
Okay,
think this
okay.
is the reason.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So before moving to further questions, Rahul, do you know like we have designed a complete interview preparation package structured step by step containing 16 PDFs? Uh,
Yes, yes,
do you
I've
know?
saw this.
Yeah, so let me brief on this. So
Yes, yes.
basically, it's a one-stop solution to crack any interview. This package covers core Java, Spring Framework, Maven, Git, Spring Boot, scenario-based questions, Spring Security, Spring MVC, Spring Data JPA, Microservices, Hibernate, general Java coding questions, Stream API coding questions, and many more. Okay. And the best part is that people have been telling me they cracked their interviews with this material, and there is a 99% chance that the interviewers will ask questions from this package. So after this interview, I will share a link with you to get this if you need, otherwise not required. And also I'll add in the description of this video. Okay.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah. So now moving to our questions. Uh, like, can you tell me about life cycle of spring bean? Do you know?
Yes, yes. Like
Okay.
when you create the bin, like I'm not 100% sure. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
create the bin in
Okay.
the spring bin, like in the bin, it takes the like bin is initialized. Then when is doing bin in it, it initializes the bin. Then bin is like bin is work means till now you're using the entire application. Bin is been
Okay.
traveled means used from one package to another. It travels means it is
Mm-hmm.
used until at the last when bin destroyed, some annotation is used, then the bin is destroyed, something like this. I'm not 100% sure like this
Okay.
till bin is from bin initialization,
Mm-hmm.
initialization till last the bin is destroyed. This is how this bin is
Okay. Okay.
done. No, I'm not 100% sure about this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No worries. So let's say you notice that a Spring Boot application you are working on is significantly slower in production than in the development environment. So how would you go about fixing the problem?
Okay, Spring Boot application.
Yes, yes.
Okay. The first thing that what I will do now, I will first of all check the loggers, means the server
Okay.
logs. I
Uh-huh.
will see that might be there is a chance that the two services are communicating. Might be there
Mm-hmm.
is a chance that there is a communication failure, or there is
Mm-hmm.
there is a gap in the communication. Second thing
Okay.
can be that there is a database calls, and there
Mm-hmm.
might be the database, there is a queries running in the backend table, and there might
Okay.
be the different joins. The complex, the
Mm-hmm.
queries could be the complex, and there are joins. So there is a I will run the query in the work in the MySQL or the Oracle developer bench, and I will check the queries time, how much time it is taking. So I will connect with the DB
Mm-hmm.
team, and I will try to optimize the query, because the query is taking the time. Then I will connect the
Okay.
database team, and I will connect the database team, and I will optimize the query. Like, and then again I will implement that query into the database.
Okay.
integrate that with our application, and again I will rerun the
Mm.
application. If still if it's still there is a problem, then definitely there is
Mm.
a problem in our communication between the application.
Communication.
Then I will check. But the first
Okay.
priority
Okay.
is the query, because
Query.
our
Okay.
application, the main purpose of the backend is to communicate with the
Mm-hmm.
backend table.
Backend.
So
Table.
this is, I think, the chances is there that here only the problem is there.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So, let's say you need to migrate an existing application to use a new database schema, okay, in a Spring Boot application, but without downtime. So, how would you plan and execute this migration?
Without the downtime.
Mm, yes.
Okay. And new means suppose it's a MySQL to Oracle like this,
Uh,
right?
no. Database schema means you just are going to
Oh,
change the
schema.
database structure, whole database structure, like different tables, different fields.
Okay, okay. Then okay, okay, like this. Okay, then actually what we did now in the Spring Boot application, there is a
Or
configuration properties file,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
application.properties file.
Okay.
Uh, so I think in the application or properties file only we write the schema name. Like in
Mm-hmm.
the URL, we give the URL in the last. We write the all the configuration about the tables, about the database configuration. So in that,
Okay.
what happens when in the application or properties time, you can the function of that is the main advantage of that is that you can
Mm-hmm.
change the application or properties or the configuration time
Okay.
as many times without the downtime. Means you have to just change the configuration time and just restart the server. So you can
Okay.
change the schema or the table name or anything into there, or all the
Mm-hmm.
property like username, password, or the schema or the URL, everything, and you can just
Okay.
restart the server. So the downtime will not be required. So I think this is one of the means this is one of the technique how we can use, means we can do
Mm-hmm.
without the downtime. But if you want other than this, then I think downtime will be required.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Uh, okay. Moving to next question. So, like, how can we handle multiple beans of the same type? Like, there are two beans,
Okay.
or two more
Uh,
than two beans, the same type. So, how would you handle these beans?
okay. Okay. Yes, there is an annotation called @qualifier.
Okay.
So @qualifier will help us to means which help us to know that if there are two beans with the same name, with the help of the
Mm-hmm.
qualifier, we can identify the two different beans. So this is how we can handle.
Mm, okay, okay. We can use a qualifier, right? Is there any other annotation
Yes.
as well that we can use in
At the
order to
rate
handle
primary.
at the
At the
rate
rate
primary?
primary. At
Okay,
the rate
okay.
primary also.
Mhm. Okay, got it. So have you handled the try? I mean, have you used try catch and this finally block in your
Yes,
exception
yes,
handling
yes.
ever?
We
Okay,
every day, like we handle our application. The main
with the try
purpose
catch
means
and finally
our main
block.
focus is to handle exception. Means not finally. Mainly we use the try catch only,
Try catch. So
and the finally
okay,
sometimes we use like if we want to close any database connection, then we find sometimes we use, but
okay,
mainly we
okay.
use try catch.
Try catch. So what happens if a return statement is executed inside the try or catch block? Does the finally block still execute?
If a return, no,
Yeah.
then finally won't execute. Finally won't execute.
Okay. Are you sure?
There is a return
Yeah.
in try, and in the catch there is a return.
Either in try or catch, if there is a return statement, either in try or catch. So does the finally block still execute?
Return and the finally.
So
I
basically,
think it won't execute.
yeah, yeah, the finally block execute even if a return statement is used in the try
Yeah,
or catch block. It basically used to ensure the
yes,
cleanups
because
runs
return
and
will
all.
just terminate the block.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So, is it possible to execute a program without a catch block? If so, like, how would you use try and finally together? Like, first tell me whether it is possible to execute a program without a
It is
catch
means
block.
again, you know, repeat the
Come again.
question. Uh, just repeat it
Okay.
again.
Yeah, yeah. So my question is it possible to execute a program without a catch block?
Okay, and there is only
Let's
try.
say, yeah, let's say you have added a try, okay,
Hmm.
and then finally direct without using catch. So is
Hmm.
it possible?
Yeah, it is possible. Try with finally is possible.
Okay, so why it's possible?
uh, because it's a combination like try with finally is possible. There is a combination, like there
And
is a
only
combination.
try?
Only try not possible. Try with catch or try with finally.
Okay, okay,
Only try not possible. Try needs either a catch or try needs either a finally.
okay. So how does exception handling with try catch finally affect the performance of a Java application?
Affects the performance of the application.
Yes.
Like what happens in the try, we write the code which is going to execute. In the catch, we write
Can
the
you
code
please
which
repeat?
is going
I
to
just miss your
which we
voice.
think that in the try. Yes, yes. In the try, we write the
Hmm.
all the codes which we think which could cause the exception. Trying to divide a number with zero, we think that this could cause any null pointer exception, or means any exception this can cause.
Okay.
Then if this can cause, then we try to handle this in the catch block. This could and if suppose we are trying and there is a something, we think that there's a database connection or something, we want that in the last we want that database connection should left open, because it will ultimately cause the database issue, means it will cause the database port unnecessary waste of database port. So we want that database connection should get closed at the last after all the operation. So in the finally block we put that. So in after all the operation, the database connection should get
Mm-hmm.
closed, or any operation should suppose, or any things should get finally closed or destroyed. So that part we put in the finally. So this is how the entire
Okay.
operation gets executed, and all the process
So
gets
it mean you
in the
means it
sequential manner
affects a
gets.
database using
This is one
exception
example.
handling.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's not effect. It's a good practice. Suppose we are doing some database operation. So in the
Okay.
last, what will happen that in the last what will happen, some database operation will happen, and database will means will remain open. We don't want that.
Okay.
We want that in the last every operation should happen, and database should get closed. It should means after all the operation, database
Okay.
port or
So what will
database should
happen if
get
there
closed
are a
and
lot
everything.
of exception throwing frequently in our application from our application?
Lots of exceptions are getting thrown.
Yeah, if lots of exceptions are being thrown by our application, so what will happen in that case?
Okay. Okay, what will happen na, if there are lots of exceptions are being thrown, the next
Mm-hmm.
lines are not going to execute. Suppose there are 10 number of lines.
No, no.
If line
How
number
this
5
will
is
how
getting.
this will affect the application? I'm interested to know about the performance, especially like whether it makes the application slower, faster, or it is neutral.
Application means, I think the readability will be very bad, like experience will be very bad. Like if somebody is seeing the server, if I am
So it makes our application
going to
slower.
debug the. Okay, it makes the application slower.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If there are a lot of thrown exceptions are being
Okay,
thrown
okay,
frequently. Okay.
okay, okay.
So can you tell me a condition where the finally block will not be executed?
Yes, suppose I am doing in system.exit. In that case,
No,
finally
your
block will
voice
never
is
execute.
breaking a lot. Okay, okay. So
In the. Yes.
you are saying if you use system.exist in try or catch execution, finally
Finally
block
will
will not be executed.
not execute. Correct.
Okay, okay. So can we write multiple finally blocks?
Yes, we and finally, no, only one finally. We can have multiple catch block. Finally block, I think we should have one.
Okay.
I haven't tried this multiple catch block. I have tried, but finally I have not tried any time multiple.
Okay. Okay. So what is exception and like what's the difference between checked and unchecked exceptions?
Yeah, like checked exception is like in the compile time only. Like
Mm-hmm.
checked exception is the compile time. Like it will be checked in the compile time. Unchecked
Okay.
exception is the run time. It won't be checked in the compile time. It will be checked in the run time. You will get this
Okay.
exception in the run time. This is the difference.
Okay. Okay. So how would you handle multiple exception in a single catch block?
Yes. So there is the sequence like child to like parent to child to parent.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose you are getting the like there is a like there is a one child. Suppose the
Mm-hmm.
null pointer exception. So how
Mm-hmm.
to handle like you are dividing the number by zero. So if you will put
Okay.
the exception block exception in the
Mm-hmm.
top and the null
Mm-hmm.
pointer in the below, then you will get the
Okay.
error because you are catching the parent exception first and then you are catching the child exception below. So you will get the
Okay.
error. What you should do,
Mm-hmm.
you should always put the child exception on the top and the parent exception on the last. So if you want to
Okay.
handle the multiple exception, so you should
Mm-hmm.
always put the sequence from child first, then you should move parent in the last. This is how you should handle the multiple exception
Multiple
in the
exception in one catch
catch
block.
block.
And what's the use of pipe
Yes,
here?
yes. Full six means from ascending to descending.
Yeah, yeah, I got it. So
Pipe,
what's the use of pipe here? Do you know about pipe?
pipe. No, I don't. I have not heard of pipe.
Okay, so
Pipe
pipe
means
is just a straight line which divides the two exception. I mean, when we write the two exception in the same catch block, we just write like IU exception, then a single line that we call a pipe, and then SQL exception. So it means our catch is handling these two exception. A single catch is handling.
okay, okay,
Okay.
okay, okay.
So yeah, yeah. So do you know about string pool?
Yeah, string pool. Yeah, and yes, yes.
So can you please brief it? I
Memory
mean,
management.
I'm
Right?
not asking too much longer answers. Yeah, go ahead. What is string pool?
Yeah, string pool like when yeah like in the like in the stack the string pool
Mm-hmm.
when you define string a equal to Rahul, then in the stack memory the string pool is
Mm-hmm.
created with the reference Rahul. This is
Mm-hmm.
how the your one reference is creating in the stack, and in the
Okay.
sorry uh, in the stack the string pool is created with
Mm-hmm.
the reference in the in one in
Okay, okay. So are there any
there is I
scenarios where
think
using the
two
string
stack and
pool
one more
might not be beneficial?
string pool not beneficial. Not, I'm not 100% sure about this.
Okay, so it will not be beneficial when there are a lot of unique strings because it will be
Okay,
complex situation to check each string inside the string pool.
okay, okay,
Okay. So yes, Rahul,
okay.
it's